If you've ever walked down into your basement and caught that unmistakable musty smell, or noticed a chalky white residue creeping across your foundation wall, you already know that basement moisture problems are one of the sneakiest threats a homeowner can face. Today, we're digging into the biggest basement moisture mistakes homeowners make, why they happen, and exactly how to prevent them before they turn into five-figure repair bills. Basements are naturally the most vulnerable part of your home because they sit below grade, surrounded on all sides by soil that holds onto water like a sponge. Every rainstorm, every snowmelt, every sprinkler cycle sends water pressing against your foundation walls, and if you haven't taken the right precautions, that water is going to find its way inside. The frustrating part is that most basement moisture problems don't happen overnight. They build slowly, quietly, hiding behind boxes and furniture until one day you notice warped drywall, a musty smell that won't go away, or worse, visible mold creeping up the wall. So let's talk about the mistakes that get homeowners into this mess in the first place, and more importantly, how you can avoid every single one of them. The very first and most common basement moisture mistake is ignoring your gutters and downspouts. It sounds almost too simple to matter, but poor gutter maintenance is responsible for a huge percentage of basement water problems across the country. When gutters are clogged with leaves and debris, rainwater doesn't flow through the downspout the way it's supposed to. Instead, it spills over the edge and pools right at the base of your foundation, exactly where you don't want it. Over time, the concentrated moisture seeps into the soil next to your home and puts constant pressure on your basement walls. The fix here is refreshingly simple. Clean your gutters at least twice a year, ideally in the spring and fall, and make sure your downspouts extend at least 4 to 6 feet away from your foundation. If your downspouts are dumping water just a foot or two from the house, you're essentially training water to attack your basement every time it rains. This leads directly into the second major mistake, which is poor grading around the home. Grading refers to the slope of the soil surrounding your foundation, and it should always slope away from your house, not toward it. Unfortunately, over years of landscaping, mulch buildup, and settling soil, many properties end up with grading that actually tilts toward the foundation. This creates a bowl effect, where water naturally collects right next to your basement walls instead of draining away. If you've noticed puddles forming near your foundation after every rainfall, that's a major red flag. The solution is to add soil around the perimeter of your home so that the ground slopes away at a rate of about 1 inch per foot for at least 6 feet. This single adjustment can dramatically reduce the hydrostatic pressure pushing against your basement walls and prevent water from ever reaching your foundation in the first place. The third mistake that catches so many homeowners off guard is assuming that a musty smell is just a normal basement odor rather than a warning sign. That earthy, damp smell is actually a signal that mold spores and moisture are present in the air, even if you can't see visible water damage yet. Many people get used to the smell and simply ignore it, not realizing it means humidity levels in the basement are consistently too high. The fix is to invest in a good quality dehumidifier sized appropriately for your basement's square footage, and to actually monitor humidity levels with an inexpensive hygrometer. Ideally, basement humidity should stay between 30 and 50%. Anything higher creates the perfect breeding ground for mold, mildew, and dust mites, all of which can affect not just your home structure, but your family's respiratory health as well. Next up is a mistake that's incredibly common in older homes: failing to seal foundation cracks early. Small hairline cracks in a basement wall might seem harmless, but they are essentially an open invitation for water to seep through, especially during heavy rain or spring thaw. Homeowners often wait until a crack is actively leaking before doing anything about it, but by then, water has likely already been infiltrating slowly for months or even years, causing hidden damage to insulation, framing, and stored belongings. The smarter approach is to inspect your foundation walls at least once a year, and anytime you spot a crack wider than a hairline, seal it promptly using a hydraulic cement or an epoxy injection designed for foundation repair. For larger structural cracks, it's worth calling in a foundation specialist, because what looks like a small crack on the surface can sometimes indicate a bigger structural issue underneath. Another basement moisture mistake that homeowners make constantly is skipping a vapor barrier when finishing a basement. If you're planning to convert your basement into a livable space, whether that's a home office, a gym, or an extra bedroom, installing a proper vapor barrier before you put up drywall is absolutely essential. Concrete is porous, and even if your basement looks dry, moisture can still wick through the concrete walls and floor over time. Without a vapor barrier, that moisture gets trapped between the concrete and your new drywall, creating a hidden mold factory that you won't notice until it's already spread extensively. Always install a polyethylene vapor barrier against the foundation walls before framing, and consider using mold-resistant drywall as an added layer of protection, especially in a below-grade space. We also need to talk about window wells, because this is a mistake that flies under the radar for so many homeowners. If your basement has windows below ground level, those window wells need proper drainage and covers. Without them, rainwater and debris collect directly against your basement windows, and eventually that water finds its way through window seals and frames into your living space. This is one of the most overlooked entry points for basement moisture. The fix is straightforward. Make sure each window well has a layer of gravel at the bottom for drainage, confirm there's a working drain connected to your foundation drainage system, and install a clear plastic cover to keep out rain and leaves. It's a small investment that prevents a surprisingly large source of water intrusion. Perhaps one of the costliest mistakes homeowners make is neglecting their sump pump or not having one installed at all in a basement that clearly needs it. A sump pump is your basement's last line of defense against groundwater, and it works by collecting water that seeps in around your foundation and pumping it away from your home before it can flood your basement floor. The mistake happens in two ways. First, some homeowners simply never test their sump pump, so they don't discover it's broken until it's desperately needed during a major storm, and by then, it's too late. Second, many homeowners rely on a single sump pump with no backup power source, which becomes a huge problem during a storm-related power outage, which is exactly when you need your sump pump working the most. The solution is to test your sump pump at least twice a year by pouring water into the pit and confirming it activates and drains properly, and to install a battery backup system or a water-powered backup pump so that your basement stays protected even if the electricity goes out. Another mistake worth mentioning is improper use of basement carpeting or unsealed flooring in a space prone to moisture. Carpet in a basement without proper moisture barriers can trap humidity underneath, creating mold growth that you won't see until you pull up the carpet and find a disaster underneath. If you love the idea of a cozy basement floor, opt for moisture-resistant flooring options like luxury vinyl plank, sealed concrete, or ceramic tile, all of which handle basement humidity far better than traditional carpet or hardwood. Let's also address a mistake that seems minor but adds up significantly over time, which is neglecting to insulate basement pipes and walls properly. When warm, humid air inside your home meets cold surfaces in the basement, condensation forms, and that condensation contributes to ongoing dampness even when there's no active leak at all. This is especially common around cold water pipes during summer months. Insulating your pipes with foam sleeves and ensuring your basement walls have appropriate insulation can significantly cut down on condensation-related moisture, keeping your basement drier year-round without any major renovation. Now, here's a mistake that's easy to overlook because it happens outside rather than inside your basement. Not maintaining exterior drainage systems like French drains or exterior waterproofing membranes. If your home was built with an exterior drainage system, it needs periodic maintenance just like anything else. Sediment and debris can clog these systems over the years, rendering them ineffective exactly when you need them during heavy rainfall. If you're not sure whether your home has one or when it was last serviced, it's worth having a professional inspect your exterior drainage before you find yourself dealing with a basement flood you thought you were protected against. One final mistake deserves special attention because it ties everything together, and that's simply waiting too long to address any of these issues. Basement moisture problems rarely get better on their own. They compound. A small crack becomes a larger one. A little condensation becomes persistent mold. A slow leak during a heavy rainstorm becomes a full basement flood during the next big storm. The homeowners who avoid expensive repairs are the ones who treat basement maintenance as a regular part of home care, not a problem to deal with only after something goes visibly wrong. Walk your basement every season. Keep an eye out for new cracks, musty smells, discoloration on walls, or efflorescence, which is that white powdery mineral deposit that indicates water has been moving through your concrete. Catching these signs early means the difference between a simple fix and a full foundation repair. At the end of the day, basement moisture problems are almost entirely preventable when you understand where the mistakes happen and take proactive steps to address them. Clean your gutters, correct your grading, monitor your humidity, seal your cracks, protect your window wells, maintain your sump pump, choose the right flooring, insulate against condensation, and stay ahead of exterior drainage maintenance. None of these fixes require a massive budget, but together they protect one of the most valuable and vulnerable parts of your home. Your basement doesn't have to be the weak point in your house. With a little consistent attention and the right preventive habits, you can keep it dry, healthy, and usable for years to come, saving yourself from the headache, expense, and stress that comes with major water damage down the road.